Dave, you've got two kids that play violin, so you've been doing this for a while now.
Long time, it seems like.
So about 9 or 10 years at this point.
Yep.
So what do you think are the things that you look back on and go, well, that works and this doesn't work, or what's kind of your thinking for people who are starting out?
Well, I think one of the things that worked really well for us is when my older daughter started playing in kindergarten, we would all get together and play music together at home. Not well, but just in whatever way we could. And I tried to learn the guitar and enough to play along with her, and then our younger daughter started playing along with us too as a toddler on whatever she could find to play, and just having that culture of making music a fun thing that we did together was helpful.
And was that a routine that you were able to carry on and hold on to, or did it get kind of tricky?
Unfortunately, I can't say that we really could as the kids got older and got busier with school and things, but we still, get together and sort of jam occasionally, but I think it's gotten much less frequent, but having that foundation when they were younger, I think did something to motivate the kids to keep playing music.
Do you have words that you can put to sort of like the atmosphere that goes along with learning it, between lessons?
Yeah, I think after, having both kids do this now for, like you say, probably 10 years, I can look back and say that it's really gone in waves. Sometimes when practicing came easier, and sometimes when it was harder. And so the answer to that is there were times, I think, that if they look back at only that period, it would seem like a slave driving kind of situation where, parents were saying, you have to practice, and there were tears and things like that. But then there have been other times when, for whatever reason, it's come a lot more easily and it's been a fun activity. So I think we've definitely had both of those, and it would be a lie to say there weren't times when there was a lot of tension around it, unfortunately.
It sounds like one of the things that you said worked was having kind of like a routine, or kind of like this thing of playing music together at home, as opposed to sort of like, okay, let's just focus on the practicing part. I mean, you were distinguishing between sort of like just playing and practicing?
Yeah, I think the practice that has worked well is that type of practice, like you're talking about, sort of ensemble playing together, but then also practice that doesn't seem like practice because it's just playing tunes.
Right.
It's always been much easier to motivate the kids to pick up an instrument and play a tune than to practice scales, for example, or something like that.
Right. The element of sort of inspiration, like that plays a role often, for whether kids are motivated. Were there times where the kids had like inspiration, like they saw a concert, or they had a friend, or maybe they saw somebody at camp? I mean, can you think of times where that played a role?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, both girls have done various sort of social things around music, with other fiddlers here in town, and jam sessions at restaurants and things like that. And it seems like that's always been a strong motivator. I know my older daughter Violet has told us in the past that when she was, say, in elementary school, her interest would sort of wane towards the end of the school year after a whole winter of violin lessons, and then going to fiddle camp in the summer would sort of perk her back up again and get her motivated for the next year. And I think that wasn't so much a musical motivation as just the experience of getting out and playing with other kids.
Right.
And I think that experience transcends not just music, but all sorts of school kids' activities that we've seen. I mean, when the kids' friends are doing it and they can make it a social experience, that's when they seem most motivated.
Right. When the kids were young and just starting out, what did you have an image in your mind of like what success would be?
I can't say that I did. I think I was really new to this sort of fiddle music as opposed to just other kinds of music. I didn't have any experience with stringed instruments much myself, so I always pictured violin lessons as being something that were, done in a very serious way by classically minded musicians, with somebody hitting their wrists with a ruler or something to get them to have just the right technique. And so I didn't have a clear vision, but I think that through my own musical experience, just playing a few instruments over my life in an amateur sort of way, I've always thought that just being able to enjoy music and pick up an instrument and play it when you feel like it is success enough for me. And I think that probably both kids, even if they never took another fiddle lesson or music class in their life, probably have that now after just that young experience.
So in a way, you feel like that they've kind of reached, they kind of crossed over that threshold of sort of where they could be self-sufficient.
At least they're getting there, yeah. Last summer we went on an international trip, and we were in Europe for a little while, and the girls brought their violins with them and ended up playing on the street, while my wife and I were doing other things. And so that to me really seemed like a milestone or something, that they were able to just go into a new city, a new land, someplace they weren't familiar with, break out their instruments and play together, and people seemed to enjoy it, and they enjoyed it, so that was good enough for me.